Mormon Purge, the silencing of Michelle Stone. I was deeply saddened this week to watch Michelle Stone get emotional as she announced that she had to take her video channel down. It was a touching moment. You could just see the pain and the struggle going on behind the smile and the tears. Hers was a moment that no free human being should ever have to endure, and I hurt watching her go through it. This was especially difficult because Michelle had been so instrumental in my own awakening to the true history of the church and the problems with the LDS polygamy narrative. I was an all-in, true-blue descendant of polygamists, a firm believer in the lie that God had commanded polygamy and would command it again in the future. Michelle saved me from that thought, for which I'll always be grateful to her. But I guess, in my heart, I always knew it had come to this for her. Having had the same conversations with my leaders, the chain of events leading up to Michelle's surprise announcement was clear. She had been warned for months not to criticize the brethren or to damage the, quote, good name of the church. But how could she not? As she got closer and closer to the truth about polygamy, and the facts and evidence and sources piled up, what was she supposed to do? Lie about it all? Ignore it all? Try to hide it, just like the church leaders have been doing for decades, hoping the members will be too stupid to ever find out? And so Michelle chose to continue telling our LDS history of polygamy, warts and all. And so finally, the male LDS leadership decided they had had enough. They called her in, threatened her, probably that they would dissolve her eternal sealing to her spouse and children, just like they threatened me. And she had to make a really hard choice. No one can say whether she made the right choice or the wrong choice, because it's an impossible position to be in. We can only empathize. My fear is that in choosing to allow these men to silence her, she will realize, like many abused women, that once the men have a taste of power and dominion over her, they won't stop. She'll continue to be silenced, sidelined, and dominated. And so my heart breaks for her, and for so many who have been down this road before. It reminds me of how I felt when Rob Fotheringham was forced to take down his channel. I'd watched Rob's interview with Mark Curtis and felt his sincerity and humility and his desire to find the truth, a truth that had the power to make us better as an LDS people, not worse. I admired his calm way in showing documents and facts so clearly that a child could understand them. And so when he was disciplined by the church without any public discussion or reasoning and forced to take down his channel, I was hurt and confused. Why was the church burying their history instead of being honest about it? Why not have a conversation and heal instead of destroy? I felt similarly when I watched Nemo, the Mormon, get excommunicated. I mean, to be fair, he kind of poked the bear a bit. But I don't know of anything Nemo has said that isn't objective and based on facts. And so why did the LDS Church, this giant organization, this powerful behemoth, not just come out with their own facts and show in an open and honest way their point of view? Why seek to silence instead of inform? Why bully instead of discuss? Why bury the truth instead of shed light? This is the big question I have for the church and anyone who continues to choose to belong to it. Why are you hiding? Why are you afraid of the truth? Why won't you have an open discussion? Why won't you listen to your members, to your women, to your youth? Why all the secrecy, the intimidation, and the cover-ups? And I've come to the conclusion that the reason why the church doesn't have discussions, doesn't allow honest dialogue, and doesn't allow open talks about the facts is because the opposite is exactly who the church really is. The LDS Church has as its very foundation secret oaths and handshakes, closed doors, passwords, recommends, secret and exclusive meetings, councils, and quorums, exclusive authority possessed and distributed by an insular inner circle, secret hoards of vast amounts of money. And to keep everything secret, the church has a giant in-house law firm with briefcases full of cash and full of NDAs. In a word, the church is an organization founded on secrecy, power, and dominion. Those in power see no reason to listen to anyone else, to consider someone else's point of view, to explain, to discuss, or ever to compromise. And so Michelle Stone, Rob Fotheringham, Nemo, and all the rest are so many pesky flies hovering around their glorious dung heap of power and authority, to be shooed away the moment they become too bothersome, but never to be taken seriously. To any leader or member of the LDS Church watching, I tell you plainly, this is who you are. This is what your church stands for. Own it. Be proud of it. Wear it on your sleeves. Stop hiding it. Stop pretending. Power, money, authority, domination, secrecy. This is who you are. That is what my stake president willingly embraced when he excommunicated me instead of listening to and honestly considering my questions. It's what my friend and bishop hesitantly but ultimately embraced when he made a choice between honoring his priesthood and excommunicating me. It is what every member of the LDS Church willingly embraces when they choose to raise their right arms to the square and sustain the brethren in these actions of silencing, intimidating, threatening, and covering up. But the sad reality for the LDS Church is this: times are changing. The internet is threatening their ability to silence. Groups of faithful people are banding together and discussing openly what the church wants so desperately to keep quiet. Women are waking up to the unrighteous dominion taught by the church. The youth of the digital age are rejecting the brainwashing the church used to get away with so easily. The days of the vice-like grip of the LDS hierarchy over its members are waning, no matter how hard they try to maintain control. The gas needed for ongoing LDS gaslighting is slowly being turned off. Who knows what the LDS leaders will resort to in the future as more and more people begin to see them for who they really are. Today, it's excommunication and NDAs and lawyers. But what will tomorrow bring as they grow ever more desperate to cling to their money and to their power? And so today, my warning to our LDS leaders and the members who so willingly sustain them is the warning of the Book of Mormon. First, in the words of Samuel the Lamanite, quote, "Behold, the time cometh, saith the Lord, that when ye shall cast out the righteous from among you, then ye shall be ripe for destruction." Unquote. And second, in the words of Amulek, quote, "It is by the prayers of the righteous that ye are spared. Now therefore, if ye will cast out the righteous from among you, then will not the Lord stay his hand, but in his fierce anger he will come out against you." Unquote. LDS Church, you've cast out Michelle's voice from among you, and Rob Fotheringham's, and many others. When you've finished your little purge, when you've cast out all the righteous from among you, at that day, do you really think you can escape the prophecies of God?